It's April 1987. I've just turned 11 years old, and I'm away visiting relatives with my parents up in Hertfordshire. One Saturday morning, my father decides, let's go down and visit where I used to do my naval training. And while we're down there, let's go to Ipswich. Ipswich has special significance for me. They're my favourite football team. I've never been to Ipswich, and I'd never been to their ground at that point. My dad says we could go down and have a look at the ground. But what's the point, I say? No one will be there. They're playing away from home today. Yeah, but it'll still be worth having a look, says my dad. But it's pointless, I say. In my mind, going to a sports stadium while it's closed and no one's there is the same as going to a restaurant and just looking at the menu for a couple of minutes. You're not experiencing the match. What the hell are you doing there? My parents start harumphing. Oh well, if that's the way you're going to behave about it, we won't bother at all. To restore the good humour, and against my better judgment, I say, sure, no, okay, look, I'm being silly, yeah, let's go, I'd like to see it. But deep down, I'm thinking, why? There's not going to be anything really worth seeing. Later that day, my parents and I, together with my aunt and uncle, pile into the car and go down to visit my father's old naval base. I can't remember much about the trip except seeing a very tall mast in the grounds of the base, which my father claimed that he used to have to climb as part of his training. We go to a pub for lunch, where I drink flat Coke and a disgusting packet of crisps, and then off into Ipswich, to Portman Road, to see the ground. We park in Portman Road and walk up to the side of the stadium. Despite my misgivings, I'm glad that we've come. I feel a little bit like a young pilgrim going to a place of worship. But frustratingly, although the stand looms up above me like a giant concrete mountain, all I can see are locked turnstiles, closed gates, and agonizingly through a gap in a fence, a corner of the pitch. If I close my eyes, I can hear the sound of the crowd willing the team on, and the sight of my blue-shirted heroes passing the ball across the pitch as they mount another attack. Even more frustratingly, in terms of the thing that's been locked up and seems to be impassable to anybody, is the club shop, stocked with merchandise and goods that I just couldn't buy where I live, too far away. No real call for Ipswich Town memorabilia when you live where I do. It's all Manchester United and Liverpool kits back then. But through that glass I can see, oh, so many things that I would love to have. The five of us stand in the street for a minute or two, looking up at the stadium, and mentally weighing up the point where we'll have to head for home. None of us are aware of a door opening, and a man in a beige suit stepping out and saying, "Can I help you?" Our heads whirl around to take in this man. My mother explains that we're up visiting, and that as I'm a fan of Ipswich, we thought we'd just come down and have a look at the ground, just to see where it was. She points out that my fancy's been taken by the merchandise in the club shop. "Oh, do you see anything you like?" says the man. "One or two things," I say. And he says, "Well, come in and have a closer look." And he produces from his pocket a set of keys, unlocks the door, and suddenly I'm into Aladdin's cave. My parents tell me that I can buy a few things, and despite the fact that I may have carped and cavilled about the trip earlier, I wasn't a spoiled child, limiting myself to a sweatshirt, a mug, a couple of programs, and a pennant. "Have you ever been inside the ground before?" The man asks. No, this is the first time we've ever been here," we tell him. "Oh, right, okay." He rings through the items that we've bought, and then says to us, "Look, I just need to close the till up. Look, would you mind just waiting outside for me? But don't go, I've just got something else I want to show you before you go." We wait out onto the street, and he comes out and joins us. "So you've never actually been inside the ground before, is that correct?" "Never," I say. "Okay, follow me," he says, and he leads us around the side of the ground, to the back of the churchman stand.